Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever in the world you are. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our first Site Young Leader group meeting, and the team has got some interesting discussions coming up. I'd like to introduce you to Clinton Els, who's been heading up this brand new team and driving things forward. And I'm just going to remain in the background and help them field some questions that might come from the audience. Clinton, may I please hand over to you and you can introduce the rest of the team. Thank you.
Sure. Great. Thanks, Jess. And firstly, can I just start off saying just how immensely not only happy but proud I am to be sitting here today. You know, it wasn't that long ago that here in Africa, as a continent, we had no young leaders program in place at all. And it's something that's always been close on my heart, and I know a number of other members within the site community as well, to say that it's not only vital, but it's necessity for you, the youth of today, and our future leaders, just to have a voice and a platform to express yourselves from. And the input that you can provide and the partnerships that can be forged, I believe, will create some invaluable opportunities, not only for yourselves, but for our industry as a whole. So, as we sit here now, ready to kick off our first workshop as a young leaders group, can I just quickly run through a few house rules? Firstly, I'd like today to really be as informal as possible. Overall, we envisage the session lasting roughly an hour or so, depending on how the discussion flows. We want to try and cover three pertinent questions or statements, as you will. And ideally, what we'd like to do is raise each of those to you as the group and to engage in a healthy debate, sharing of knowledge and ideas around those 3 points. Secondly, can I suggest that everyone put themselves on mute at the moment and potentially even switch off your videos, and as you raise your hand, if you've got anything to comment on, then we'll unmute you from there, and we can engage with video, so we can go into the comments from there. Also, there at the bottom of your screen, you'll see there's also a chat portal for any Q&As. Can we also encourage you to make use of that as we're going through the discussion points, so that we can try to line up the questions in order and make sure that we get to each of those in time. Right. So moving into today. Before we gather into those questions and queries, I'd like to just give a little bit of background to Site Africa Young Leaders and who we are and where we've come from. The last couple of months, it's been a really busy period for us as a group, and as the Site Young Leaders movement here in Africa has been started. And I'm proud to say that we have an amazing committee in place, and they're here to work with you. Now, the committee covers our continent from north to east to south. We've got Ishmael, who's our committee leader. He's based in Rwanda. We've got Farid, who sits in Egypt. We've got Anka down in South Africa, and Aileen, also based in Rwanda. And all four are on this platform today and are here to engage with you and to enter into an open discussion with you. So can I encourage you to follow them, not only on their social media platforms, but also to follow Site on social media and on LinkedIn. These platforms are here and they're available to us. So use them not only to garner information and knowledge, but also contacts. Networking in our industry is so important. So running into Site Young Leaders and where we see ourselves going and what we see ourselves doing. The vision for Young Leaders Africa is to make Site Young Leaders Africa not only a sustainable entity that's known throughout the African continent, but we're looking for it to be a sought after chapter where our future leaders of Africa can gather to grow, to network, and to connect. Now, for me, the 3 points to take away from here are growing, network, and connecting, because those are just so vital in our industry. And I'm reminded of an African proverb that, hopefully I don't get this wrong. It goes along the lines of, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And as a group, the youth of today they're a formidable force with the world at your feet. And I, for one, am so excited to get this movement going and to see what the youth of Africa have in store for us and for the world and for our industry as a whole. And the mission of our young leaders is to focus on two key pillars: growth and connectivity. Now, growth not only in numbers within the group, but also growth in knowledge and growth in experience. You know, when connecting like-minded future leaders together, I believe we're going to see some amazing ideas, strategies, and future potential for the group starting to emerge. But I also know that the committee haven't stopped there. Now, the committee have shown strong vision in ensuring that current leading professionals within the hospitality sector around Africa are also engaged and included, so that we can have like a mentorship program within the structure, an opportunity, if you will, to cross-pollinate ideas between different generations. Now, the immediate future for Site Africa Young Leaders, I see, is going to be a strong social media campaign. And really, that's to start garnering awareness. We want to get everyone on the continent aware that we have a Site Young Leaders Africa movement going, and that they can start engaging on that. The next step will be to get a survey out to the industry, where we want to ensure that in our discussions and in our meetings, in our gatherings as young leaders, we'll tackle relevant and pertinent topics, things that you as the young leaders in Africa want to talk about. And then as we grow from there, we in the not too distant future, we'll be looking at adding in virtual experiences, networking opportunities, etc., just to really be able to share amongst one another. So in our perspective, Site Africa Young Leaders needs to be a place for you as the youth to gather, to share, to grow, to learn, and to develop. It's a community with endless opportunities, and I strongly encourage each and every one of you to use that community. Right, so with that said, can we kick off the workshop with a couple of points that we want to go through? So I'm going to open up the first point, and it really focuses around Africa and the uniqueness of our continent. Now, we all know that Africa is a unique destination. It's a continent of varying cultures, landscapes, and experiences. But as the youth of today, what is it that you find unique, either about your region or about Africa as a whole, that you believe would be key in driving sales to our continent? Can I open the floor? Anyone who's would like to comment on that, feel free, drop something in the chat or raise your hand, and we can get to you from there. And if you'd like a bit of time to think through as well, I'm going to throw one of our committee members under the bus, and I'm going to go straight to Aileen sitting in Rwanda, and ask her what, you know, as a young leader sitting in Rwanda, what do you see as unique, either about your region or Africa, that you think should be brought to the table in driving sales?
Well, thank you. Thank you for opening the workshop with me. I think with the region, I will start with East Africa because that's where I am. We have a variation of experiences. For the people who like high intensity, adventurous experiences, you can find them here. You can, if you like to chill and relax at the beach, you have one of the most beautiful beaches are in East Africa. Kenya, they have like Malindi, it's beautiful. Zanzibar is very known. All of those areas are in East Africa. So for the people who want that crystal blue experience by the beach, they can have it. Or if you want to hike and have high intensity, see the landscape, or come to Rwanda, come and have an amazing experience when you get to see the gorillas in the volcano area, which is one of our most popular experience here. But it's not just that. We have also other experiences in the where you get to see the culture, you get to enjoy our community here. So there's so many experiences that you can get to see in Africa that is beyond the safari idea that most foreigners think about when you say Africa. So yeah, I am very confident that when you get here, any interest you have is going to be served. I'm very confident in that.
Great, thanks, Ellie. So for me, I take away two key points from your comments there. One, that don't think of Africa purely as safari. There's so much more to do in Africa, which is often how Africa is portrayed internationally. You must come to see the Big Five, which is big, and it's a huge driving factor, and yes, something that we'll always continue to punt for Africa as a whole with our spaces. But it's the fact that we can't find ourselves only focusing on one point. There's so much more that can be done. And then,
but if you want that safari experience, you can also do a hot air balloon throughout Serengeti. That's a different way to do a safari.
Yes, absolutely. So look at a different way of doing an experience. But the second point that I had to it was, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it was almost connectivity within a region. So you didn't focus purely on Rwanda, and you were talking about East Africa as a region. Zanzibar, you've got the Serengeti, the Masai Mara, you've got Kigali areas, you've then got the gorillas that you can head up to in the mountain there. So are you saying that in your opinion, it's connectivity once you're in Africa, you find it easy, and you could quite happily as an international guest come in and connect various destinations through and move through quite simply, or as the youth of today, are you seeing that those are barriers? And
not barriers. I think that's one of the things the East African community wanted to create, that connectivity. So as somebody who's coming here, especially the young generation, we want to make most out of an experience. So if you tell me that it's like 8 hours drive, I can be in another country and get to experience that country, and there is less restrictions between moving from one coming from Rwanda to Tanzania or to Kenya, then I'm going to take that chance. That's why I point out that connectivity, because I know as the young generation, we want to make out of any experience we have on the table. So if you tell them, oh, our countries are quite close to each other, so if you have the time and the energy, you can do it, and it's going to be excellent.
Great, fantastic, thanks. I see Amka's got her hand up. Would you like to unmute yourself, Amka?
Yes, I just wanted to add on to what Eileen was saying, is that I think not just like within a specific region like East Africa, I think it's very easy to combine Southern and East Africa, or even North Africa, like Egypt and stuff. Because like when the youth travels, they travel to a specific destination in that particular time of their life, maybe once. So they want to tick off everything that's on their bucket list. So and that's what makes Africa really unique, that it's very easy to combine like different countries like East Africa and South Africa, or even Southern Africa, which makes it very unique, especially with also the diversity that you would experience from cultures to experiences to the landscapes to animals as well, which is a very big sell point for youth as well.
Great, thanks, Amka. I think that's a very, very good point that you make, that as the youth of today that might be very likely coming to Africa, especially if they're a long haul destination coming in from North America or Australasia or even Europe, etc., that it might be the first time, or likely the first time, and it may be the only time they come for a lengthy period of time. They might not be an immediate repeat client, so they would want to tick as many boxes as possible. And I guess with that comes the covering the information about our continent, because it isn't a small continent that we're talking about. If you're traveling through Europe, it's quite easy to just hop one place to another, quite quick, etc. And if guests have that sort of mindset in place, they might find the African continent quite daunting at first. So it's a matter of educating the guest or the tourist in advance as to that it may be large distances, but the connectivity is simple and is easy in terms of direct flights or multiple first world airport structure systems and transport systems that are in place to move around safely and easily within that system, that you can come into Africa and not feel that you need to focus on one area for your period of stay. You could actually see 2, 3, or 4 different high sought after regions for yourself. Great. So guys, I'm not seeing any questions come through at the moment into the chat room. If you've got any, please feel free to drop any. Otherwise, raise your hand and we can get you from there. I'd like to head up to Farid as well, right up in the north, and see what his thoughts are on unique destination that we face in Africa, or even the uniqueness of the northern regions of our continent.
So I'd like to basically add to what both were saying, Aline and Anka, about the richness of the continent. So basically, what they're saying is, you can combine. You have a rich continent. You can have the cultural side of it. You can visit the pyramids. You can take into the leisure side of it and go into a safari. You can enjoy the beach in some parts of the region. So it's basically a fully fledged continent that serves culture, it serves leisure, it serves incentive. I believe it has a huge potential to grow in terms of the richness of the continent. Let me take, for example, Egypt. Here we have, just within one country in a continent, we have as well the same concept. We can have a cultural side of it, where you can go visit the ancient Egyptian treasures and the pyramids and all of this side. You can enjoy a cruise. You can enjoy you can have a safari in the desert. It's a different kind of it. So basically, it's a fully fledged continent. It covers everything. You have everything. You have the beach, you have the culture, you have the safari, you have the history. So I don't see why it wouldn't serve. It deserves much more recognition than it is right now. I believe it's much richer than what is being portrayed at the moment.
Great. Thanks, Farid. I suppose a follow-on question within that is as the youth of today, I mean, as you said, you've got destinations and Africa as a whole, Egypt, East Africa, South Africa, Southern Africa, we've all got, it's not only the landscape, but there's history in every section of Africa. There's culture in every section of Africa that you can expose yourself to. Do you see those as the driving forces within the youth of today? Do you see youth looking for culture, looking for history, or would you say they're looking more for adventure, or is it a matter of saying they want to see the culture and experience the culture and the history, but they want to do it differently to the way it's been done in the past?
I believe that the youth are looking for an experience, an authentic one. They're looking for something that is, let's say, if they come to a country, they want to feel the local history, the local vibe of it. So they feel that they've been part of the country and not just a tourist that came and saw the main attractions and left. So I always see it, and I always feel that the youth are more interested in feeling the true, authentic feeling of the country, while at the same time being able to show parts, to showcase it to their friends, to show it around that they've been to a country and they've not done the typical touristic stuff. They've done something, an experience that no one or not a lot have done previously.
Great, thanks. I think you hit the nail on the head there with authenticity. I think we're seeing that as a big trend coming through in travel these days, to not only experience a country, but to as a tourist, but to try and experience the real nature of that country, to scrape beneath the surface of it and get your hands dirty in joining that. So it's a great point there. Thanks. anyone else want to grab? I think Amka's got her hand up again.
I just wanted to say, like, also they love to travel.
Sorry, we're getting a bit of feedback on you there, Amka.
Can you hear me better now?
There we go.
Okay. I just wanted to say, like, the youth as well, they really want to travel with purpose, especially after what has happened this year. So they want to experience different things that they wouldn't do as normal, but at the same time, in a way, give back to local communities and or conservation, depending on where their passions lie as well.
Great. Thanks, Amka. I see just in the chat at the moment, I see Mula has put up a comment where surrounding connectivity, which we were discussing a bit earlier with Aileen as well, how Ethiopian Airlines are playing such a massive role in the connection all over Africa at the moment, and Addis becoming a hub. Ethiopia as a destination is another big addition to Africa, being a major destination within the world. So is anyone here on the just out of interest tapping into that opportunity with the increased connectivity options through some a company like Ethiopian Airlines?
Anton, if I may just jump in, it's Tess here. I think Ethiopian is probably one of the most exciting things that's happening in Africa at the moment. And Mola, if I may jump into it, and I ask Mola to maybe unmute himself and talk about that opportunity a little bit.
Oh, thank you very much, Tess. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Well, I don't know where to start, to be frank. Ethiopia has a very diverse product, really, taking from the old culture. Thank you. So, well, as a destination, as I said, talking about my friend from Egypt was talking about the very old historic. And we would say also that we have some historic places like from 3,000 years old. And when it comes to archaeology, you know, we can talk about Lucy, the oldest human skeleton, which we believe all of us came from, if we believe in archaeology. In terms of religious sites, we have monasteries from the 4th century. And of course, in terms of landscape, we say Ethiopia is built, I'm not so sure, I couldn't really fact check this, but 70% of African mountain is believed to be in Ethiopia. But I know that there are over 20 mountain chains over 4,000 meters above sea level. So you can imagine the possibility we have in terms of hiking and trekking. And also when it comes to cultural experience, like tribal cultural, just like you have the Masai Maras in Tanzania, in Kenya, or the Himbas, we have so many of them in Ethiopia, over 80 different tribes. So it's really diverse in a way. Ethiopia, in terms of land mass, is also a very big country. From north to south, is about 2,300 kilometers. So with this far out, in terms of weather condition, again, lastly, just my background behind me is we went to the lowest point in Africa, 126 meters below sea level, and also being one of the hottest place on us, up into the mountains, about 4,600 meters above sea level. So there's really diversity in terms of Ethiopia as a country. When it comes to the tourism growth or infrastructure developments, well, there are really mega projects going on in terms of MICE destinations, for example, Ethiopia. We know that now Kigali and Addis Ababa is kind of competing, which is really great. And also in terms of connectivity, yes, we have talked about Ethiopian Airlines, and also we have over 30 airports in the country. So I'm sorry if I'm mixing things from one to, but in general, we believe, actually we say we have a little bit of everything. Or we say also we have a combination of many African countries in terms of, how I say, cultural activities. Or the only thing we are missing is the seaside. Otherwise, we have a very, very diverse product. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Bula. And yeah, I think it ties right in with what we're chatting about in terms of looking for those unique elements within Africa. But it's more than sitting in front of a client and doing a sales pitch, and you tell them all about how unique our destination is or what they can do, and they turn around and go, yeah, that's all great, but how do I get around, or how do I get there? So being able to back that up with the easy connectivity within Africa, and really placating a lot of the concerns that international clients may have when they look at the continent. They go, well, it's not just, you look at Africa and say, well, Africa is not one country, it's multiple countries that are all made up. So what is the visa systems? How do the flights work? How do we get here? How do we move there? And to be able to say to them that there's opportunities to move around that easily, and to connect and to bounce between countries with ease, really makes the life of a hospitality guys like ourselves that much easier, to be able to focus on those core points or destinations that tick a specific individual's boxes based on their demographic. And I think what's core in today's environment, coming through COVID, as we start to see the rebound within the industry happening, is to look for where those opportunities lie, and to find where the likes of, as you said, Ethiopian Airlines, that's just grown from strength to strength of late, and they're opening up more and more connections and destinations for it. And to say, well, how do we use those, and how do we benefit our organizations by making use of companies such as this, or focusing on the ease of connectivity that happens within those regions, that you can really put the best foot forward with a pitch to a client. So thanks for that, Molo. Right, I don't see any other comments coming through at the moment on that. So I think what we'll do is we'll move over to point 2 at the moment, and then if you still want to cover anything on the uniqueness of our country, or the connectivity, or something that lies close to your heart, and that, please feel free, drop it in the chat line, and we can always come back to that. But leading on from where we were in covering the connectivity of our continent, covering the uniqueness of our continent, I'd like to pose a more direct question to the group, and that is, as a young leader in today's world right now, would you travel to any other destination in Africa, and why or why not? So while you think about that, I'm going to jump straight to Ishmael and see what Ishmael's thoughts are in terms of moving around Africa right now.
Hi, Clinton. Hi, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Obviously, right now with COVID, it will be a bit. It's a whole new word, but it's always been dreams of mine to really move across Africa, whether let it be the Egypt. I mean, you growing up, we all had different history classes, like they're telling you history of Egypt, or history of different countries across Africa. So that sort of resonate with you. So you keep on thinking, okay, if one day it's possible, it's something I'd really want to do. Or me being the adventurous that I am, I'd want to when it comes to South Africa as well. South Africa, I feel it's one of the countries that offers a lot of diversity, like in terms of it doesn't go back just your usual tourist activities, like let it be whether you're swimming with the sharks, or you scuba diving, or skydiving, or you're going for hot air balloon safaris, or also the history of the country as well. And I mean, there's so many things to see in I mean, these two countries I've mentioned, let it be Egypt or let it be South Africa. There's so many things, hopefully one day, that I'd want to go and just visit myself and just experience this and have these unique experiences. And I'm thinking it's the same thing I can resonate with the youth across the world. I mean, speaking of, again, I can go with Ethiopia as well, with the whole Rastafarian background, and and the culture of it. So when I talk about maybe the background, the history that will take also. There's so many. I mean, this is what I guess it's good. What's good about Africa? It's you have. As people say, it's home to everything. Like, I mean, us youth who are into the urban culture or the pop culture, you listen to all this type of music, whether music or films or photography or all these things you might see across on social platforms every now and then, and you really want to go to the origin, to where these things come from. Or if you talk about movies, maybe you can say you want to go to Botswana, like you want to see where Black Panther was shot. If you talk about like all these different things, like that would be one of the major reasons I'd really want to go visit these places. One would be because I grew up being taught in school to the history of different countries, so I'd want to go visit these things and have the experience at first hand. And the second would be all these different adventures being not adventure, like all these different location making headlines, and you'd want to go there and see it with your own eyes. So yes, it's something I'd want to do. Yes.
Thanks, Ismail. I think it's when it comes to travel in today's world, and especially for us in the hospitality industry, we can't just talk the talk. We've actually got to walk the walk. So you're sitting in front of a client and you're pitching a destination. If in the back of your mind you're not comfortable heading to that destination yourself, it's going to come across in your pitch. So it's very important that we're also honest with ourselves in terms of where we're at and what we're comfortable doing right now. And I'm, for one, I'm very encouraged seeing, I've moved around quite a bit, and I've seen a number of other people and other companies also moving around, tourists coming and going, etc. And to be able to chat to them and to work out the ease at which they moved and the comfort in which they moved during this current period, that's vital right now to set confidence at play within potential guests and clients that are coming in, because there's a lot of people out there that are saying, guys, I want to travel. But there may be that niggling feeling in the back of their mind that's, is it safe to travel right now? Should I be traveling right now, etc. And it's up to us as the individuals to be trying to placate that and you're pushing them in the direction of where they need to go. Yeah, maybe there's areas they shouldn't be heading to at a specific point in time, but if in Africa right now, I mean, we've got low numbers, we've got ease of movement, we've got quite accessible in terms of restrictions, etc., coming through. So, I've just seen so many positive comments coming from guys coming in from Doha, guys coming in from North America, guys coming in from Europe. That just said when they got to the airport, they were just amazed at the ease in which they were able to enter the country, the ease at which they were able to move around the country, how safe they felt at each of the destinations they were at in terms of the openness of the staff, but the wearing of masks, etc. for it. So I'd be very interested to hear if there's anyone in the group today that feels differently in terms of maybe we should be telling clients, no, you shouldn't be traveling yet. You need to wait a little while. So I know I'd be putting you somewhat on the spot, so I apologize for that in advance. But is there anyone who feels strongly that guests shouldn't be traveling right now? I'm very glad to see no comments coming through, because that's part of the resurgence of the travel industry is going to come through with us pushing it. And as I said, I think the more confident you are in your comfort in traveling, the easier it's going to be to sell that to an international client coming through. So I know we've got a poll going up at the moment. Do you have a bucket list destination in Africa? And I see everyone that has answered so far is going, yes, they absolutely do. I'd love to see in the chat what that bucket list destination is, to try and gauge a bit of commentary coming through from that side. If we could, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And, also, unless I'm interrupting another point, Clinton, we've got a small enough group just to run around the room to just hear from everybody where they're from and what their bucket list destination would be.
Perfect. That sounds great. Should I start on my?
Yeah, start on your side and run through. Yeah.
So let's start with Amka.
I have honestly so many. I constantly have trip phobia, so I need to travel like every other weekend. But I feel like, just on the back of what you previously said, Clinton, I think Africa, social distancing comes so easily to us, so it's very easy for us to set our clients' mind at ease, and when they're finally there, just having that wide open spaces just naturally come to them. Or when they're trekking, it's already controlled numbers on a normal day, so they feel more comfortable. And just also when they do off the beaten track experiences, there's not a lot of people, so automatically, without even thinking about it, they feel comfortable and they feel like they can keep their distance and everything, and feel safe when they are traveling. But when it comes to a bucket list item, it's definitely, I want to go gorilla trekking. I have been to Egypt, but I want to do the Valleys of the Kings very badly. I love their history as well. And then Namibia has always been on top of my bucket list as well. So, yeah.
Great, thanks. I know it's always hard to try and narrow down a specific one, and you think you're making progress when you tick off one and you realize that you've got about 10 others that are lined up that are ready to go. That's the beauty of Africa.
Yeah, and I just feel like you can, even if you've ticked something off, you can definitely go back and you can experience it again, and you'll experience it in a completely different light when you go do it again, which makes it really, really special. That you don't have to just do it once, you can do it more than once.
Absolutely. Next on my list, I've got Aileen.
Oh, yes. As Emker just said, the list is long. I can start from the north going down, and I will almost list all the countries. So right now, the one closest to mind, I really, really want to go, and in the West Africa area, I want to go to Senegal very, very badly. I want to go to Ghana. I really want to see the impact. In 2019, they did the Year of Return, which was one of a phenomenal idea. They found a way to create the history of that area on the country and then connect them to the diaspora living in the US or other countries. So they were able to attract around 500,000 diasporas moving back to Ghana. So I'm very interested to see the impact of that move on the economy of the country. I really want to see, because that was a very, very interesting thing to do. So yeah, I want to go there very much. Côte d'Ivoire, really, I'll just go around West Africa if I keep going, if I keep listing the countries. But I definitely want to go to Maroc. I want to go to South Africa, really, not just for work, but for leisure. I've been there for like 2 days, but it was for work. I didn't get to experience the cities really. So I want to go everywhere. I can't stop listing countries right now.
Great, thanks, Ori. Some very, Aileen, some very unique ideas that are coming through there as well.
Yeah.
Bucket list destinations. Armani, any bucket list destinations for you?
Okay, I am participating in this group. I'm not a youth myself, but it's interesting to hear everybody and how they feel about traveling across the continent generally. My personal bucket list would be covering areas like Namibia, like Rwanda. I'm very much interested to visit Rwanda. What we hear about Rwanda is amazing, and to me, it's of interest to go and check there. Of course, Tanzania, Uganda, these are sort of the destinations that I'm thinking of at this point in time. I just need to add, with regards to how we sell the continent to youth, and how we need to sit ourselves in their shoes, and how we need to concentrate on, of course, the adventurous part of what they want to cover during any trip they do, the sports that they want, and this is now a big thing among all the young generation, how to be active and how to include in whatever we're selling to these people a certain activity that will excite them, combining it, of course, with the other parts of the trip, being covering a cultural part or an adventurous part, and seeing new things, experiencing cultures, and so on. So I just needed to dwell on this active part of designing something for somebody who is younger in age. This is what I wanted to comment.
Great. Thank you, Amani. Just Jacqueline. Let's see, Jacqueline, are you there? Would love to hear what your bucket list destination in Africa would be.
Sorry, I was muted. Apologies.
No problem.
So yeah, my bucket list. I was just actually when I listened to everyone. Let me just put my camera right, probably. Is it on? Can you see me now?
No, not at the moment.
You can't see me? Where's my camera? I think my camera is acting up, but you can hear me though.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Apologies, my camera. But my bucket list, wow, Marrakesh. Like literally, I think of going to Marrakesh day and night. So I would want to go to Marrakesh. I would love to go to Cape Town and see the Table Mountains. I've been to Johannesburg, but I didn't get to Cape Town. So I would love to look at the Table Mountains in Cape Town. I've not been to Rwanda, surprisingly. They're my neighbors. I'm from Uganda. Rwanda is next door, but I've not been there. So I'd love to go to Rwanda because I've been to Tanzania and Kenya. And then I would love to go to Namibia, actually. I'm also intrigued with Namibia and Botswana as well. So in the now bit, that is what I would really, really, really get excited to go to. Yeah, that's my bucket list for now.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Interesting to see how Rwanda and Namibia, both from an international perspective, are also highly sought after at the moment, but also sought after within on our own continent. It's very interesting to see that.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Ishmael, you're next on my list. Bucket list destinations.
Where would I now want to go? I feel the other time before COVID hit, I wanted to take a Landi and just drive across Africa. Like that's one thing I want. I just wanted to sit in a Landi and just go from here, go all the way to Ethiopia, to Egypt, cross to the West Africa, and end up in South Africa. But then, yeah, so really, I believe I'm a citizen of this world, and I'm dying to just go places. There's so many places I want to go, and yeah, so I can't list them down. I can't really, yeah. I love Africa that much, I guess.
Excellent. Well, you've just gone straight into authenticity. Get in a Land Rover and drive through Africa. You can't be more authentic than that, than getting to meet the local population in each destination that you head through and really immerse yourself. So yeah, absolutely great. And then Martin.
Oh, this is such a long list. So I've made it shorter, but I'll try just to read the top ones because I'm still at 27. So definitely Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Egypt, Morocco, Tanzania, Namibia, Mozambique. Those are just the top ones.
Fantastic.
I might as well give you a video feedback as well. But yes, these are the ones that I would really, really, really like to see. But I think Morocco would be my top one that I would love to see.
Excellent. Great. Thanks, Martin. Jumping to Mula. You are on mute, Mula. Okay, I think we'll come back to Mulla a bit later. Let's go. I think Farid, we haven't done you, Farid. Any bucket list destinations for you?
So I always believe that you want to go to try and experience that you don't have, and we don't have here a safari experience. I haven't done something similar. We can do a desert one, but not one with the where you can see the animals and go. Like it's different for us. So I always wanted to go to South Africa. I think it would have been something special. Also, Rwanda, I'm very interested to see it. But yeah, I just want to see the different side of Africa than what I'm used to.
Great. Thanks, Farid. Let's try one last time before we move on. We're running out of time a bit here. Mulla, are you there? I'd love to hear your unique and bucket list destination. No, I think we might have lost.
I don't think he's there. Yeah. I dropped him a message and he's not responding. He's gone for coffee.
We might have lost Mulla there for a second, but no problem. It's just interesting. It's nice when we've got a small group like this that we can all interact and hear and see where the trends are coming through. I love the different ideas that are coming in. Self-driving through Africa.
Sorry, Mulla's back.
Mulla's back. Excellent. Yeah, Mulla, you there?
Sorry, yes, I was on another phone call. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No problem. No.
Of course, my dream destination in Africa is Zanzibar. I was in Seychelles for a while ago, and I know these seaside destinations remain kind of my addiction. So my next destination in Africa is Zanzibar.
Zanzibar, excellent, good. And I know if we had endless amount of time, we could dive into the reasons behind each of your bucket list. Also, I know everyone's, and you'll find that even though, as I said, it's interesting to see how Namibia and Rwanda came up quite prevalent across a majority of you, that you would find that there might be different base reasons for each of you wanting to look at those areas. So absolutely great. Great to see. I see Tess has listed a link here for her favorite one. This must be really good. Tess, where's your favorite or your bucket list destination?
This is a little video that I slapped together just to, I think it was Amka who touched on the fact that, we've got wide open spaces in Africa, So this video is a campaign that social distancing is a way of life. And it's a little video of the Angama Mara in Kenya, which is to me a little piece of heaven. But bucket list for me that I haven't been to yet is Uganda, and I hope I'm going to do that in the next month. So Jacqueline, I'll see you soon.
Excellent. For me to round up those bucket list points is, although I've been to the country, I've actually stood on the ground watching them inflate the balloons in the middle of the Serengeti. The wind picked up and we weren't able to get in the air. So I haven't physically sailed over the plains of the Serengeti in a hot air balloon yet, and that still remains one of my core bucket list experiences. We had a Pride of Lion walk right through us. We were trying to inflate the balloons. We had elephant come in, and then we had the wind pick up, and we ended up not getting in the air. So that'll remain a key reason for me to return to that part of the world again as well. Such a special place. Right, on that point, thanks guys. Like I said, very interesting points coming through there, and lovely to see how most of them actually aligned with international guests' thoughts as well. Because, as I said, the more you are passionate about a product, the easier it is to sell it. It comes across in your voice, it comes across in your demeanor when you're sitting with a client. They can, positivity is infectious when you're sitting in a sales pitch for a client. So lovely to see how passionate everyone is about our continent. Before we close off, I'd like to end with something that for me is a very important topic that needs to be covered in terms of the youth, and that is the trends that you foresee happening in our industry. If we look at the world even more so today, 2 years ago we were saying the world was an ever-changing environment and we needed to adapt and we needed to change. But with COVID striking, it's become even more so that the world has changed and we need to adapt and we need to adjust to it. And I would be very interested to hear from the young leaders on the call today as to, in your opinion, what you see as the key trends in travel right now and what future trends you might see emerging post-COVID. If anyone's got any thoughts they'd like to raise their hand.
I'll go first. So I think one of the trends that I've been noticing is that flexibility is quite key, not in the sense necessarily as booking terms that if something happens beyond their control, that you help them change it or postpone it, but also flexibility within itineraries. If they see something or read something or speak to locals whilst they are on an adventure, they would like the flexibility of including it or going there maybe on their own time or adding it onto the itinerary itself as well. And also, as we've previously mentioned, off the beaten track is like very, very key for the youth. They want to experience things that are completely different to what the general people would do. And also combining it in one trip because they will travel there only maybe once in their lifetime or once every now and then. And also, something that I've noticed is that because a lot of youth, their communities were touched or people, their families were quite touched by the COVID impact, when they are traveling, they really want to start traveling with purpose, in the sense that if there's a give back opportunity, depending on what their interest is, whether it's conservation or local communities, they want to have a positive impact when they travel, also maybe in a sustainability or eco-friendly point of view as well. So
great, thanks, Anke. Very, very interesting. So three core areas. So flexibility, not only in itinerary, but in actual booking terms and conditions, the ability to change and adjust. Authenticity, which we've discussed before as well, getting, really immersing yourself in that country, and then the CSR element or the give back opportunity that may come in for the area that they're in. Do you, as a group, do we see then that the trends in quoting may adjust slightly, and that traditionally we would put together a proposal that, here's the proposal we'd really suggest, and it takes in all the core factors, to rather put in a proposal that's got accommodation, flights or connectivity elements, a private vehicle with a private driver, and then suggestions for what they would be doing, and then let them adjust on the ground? Or do you see us still quoting with core recommendations of an itinerary, a fully inclusive itinerary that just has the flexibility to be adjusted?
Okay, I think when there'll be, I believe they would want something with flexibility, but with core activities already on the itinerary. Like if I'm coming to a country I've never been, there's already a few things that I want to see, but when you get to the ground, you are going to be surprised by the community, by what you see on the ground. So flexibility within the itinerary is definitely the way to go. That way you can be able to plan something, you can have an idea of the flow if you have 3 days or 2 or 4 or a week or 2. So that way you know how to space things. That way you give yourself space and room to add. You give yourself space to be surprised by the area or the country you're going to. So yeah.
Hi, Clinton, if I can add something.
Sure.
So if I could just add on the issues of what are we seeing now? For instance, I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at the Sheraton Kampala in Uganda. So from the perspective of how we have been seeing the influx and the movement of the current guest or traveler, we have noticed that flexibility in terms of cancellation, people want to know that there is room for that last minute change. There is room. If I'm COVID positive, no one is going to charge me for not coming through because it's beyond my control. So we have seen that booking window has greatly reduced. The lead time, we would have bookings in July, in December now, but now you have bookings for tomorrow. Somebody's calling for a group next week. It's 20 people. We are going to come in and we want to see. So we're in a rush to put up ideas and activities that are within the SOPs guidelines currently. and making sure that everything is to the fulfillment of the client. So the lead period has greatly reduced, so that impacts on your planning, but that means we have to be quick in making decisions and in planning. We have seen also the length of stay increase because people want to maximize all they have to do within the time they have traveled. Before you would think, oh, maybe I can do 3 days and then maybe come back. But the struggles and the journey it takes you to come back through different areas and airports that you're going to go through, you don't want to go through that exercise again. So you find that somebody stays for 2 weeks to make sure they exhaust whatever they have to do, so you're not keeping for tomorrow. So the length of stay has greatly also increased and the lead time has reduced. And then we have seen also security consciousness in terms of the current provisions that I have put in place in the areas they're going to visit, not only the hotels, if you're going to do a walking tour and the guides, the areas you're going to go to, how secure are they in terms of hygiene, how secure are they in terms of the SOPs they have put in place. So if you're going to a game park, how are the guides that, what are they using? What PPEs are they using? So it's whenever we have a request, it comes with a list of requests of PPE. What kind of PPE are you using? Is it N95 mask? Is it this and this? So the requirements have also become, the list of requirements have become lengthy and really exhaustive. So you really have to look into so many aspects. So basically, yeah, we are. It's a revolutionary change of the way we have been working.
Great, thanks, Jackie. I think, yeah, and all three. I was just jotting down the points as you were going as well, because that fundamentally adjusts the way we would traditionally have quoted. Having moving, if we look back a year and a half in a pitch phase where your lead times on an incentive group might have been anywhere from 12 to 18 months. And leisure clients might have been, for an international client coming in, might have been 6 to 12 months sort of there. Sorry, suddenly you're talking about 1 to 2 weeks, means that the information that you're putting forward in your initial pitch needs to be that much more complete first time up. Whereas we originally would be paint a pretty picture, get them interested, and then hook them afterwards and start building the program. Now you've suddenly got to, you've got to adjust security information, you've got to have COVID information, you've got to have what happens if this happens, and so you've actually got to be two steps ahead in your very first touch base with the client. So that adjusts the way, not only the thought process, but actually the way that you may lay out the information that you're sending through to your client. So very interesting to see that. And then increased length of stay, I suppose, directly attributable to the fact of if something happens while I'm in country, I need a little extra time to adjust with that. But then it also would, in a way, for me, link back to the authenticity. I want to spend more time in country so that I can really experience that country that comes through. So, yeah, 3 very, very interesting trends coming through there. Great. And Armani sent a note through. She unfortunately had another call, so she had to drop off. But she concurred very much with yourself, Jacqueline. Safety and flexibility. And also then coverage if an individual had to get infected while traveling, and again that just comes back to taking away that fear element and replacing it with confidence in the client's ability. Because right now, we were chatting about this the other day, saying if you want to travel right now, there isn't a better time to travel. You don't have the massive crowds that are coming through. You've got suppliers bending over backwards to say we're so happy to have clients come in. We want to please you. And the service levels are up, the rates are competitive. You don't have to fight the crowds to see the most amazing experiences where you go to. So travel right now is perfect time, but you've got to jump the hurdle of clients who might be somewhat concerned or scared, or have colleagues of theirs or friends of theirs saying, how could you possibly even consider traveling at the moment? And that's all a perception that we have to deal with.
Add on to that, Clinton, one of the trends that we also actually noticed and experienced with clients is that, especially traveling now, there's so many countries with their own restrictions and countries with reds and green lists. And then what clients would actually do, they would combine countries. For example, South Africa could be on the red list. And then they'll go to a country like Kenya and they'll stay there for a certain period, which would be on the green list. So by the time they get home, they technically can enter their country again, because they've stayed long enough in a green list country. But that is, of course, if people have the budget in doing such a long itinerary and staying that length of stay of combining countries like that.
A very interesting point, because I think that's very prevalent as well. Okay, in that us as the hospitality industry should be thinking along those lines to make it easier for clients. So they want to come to destination X, but if they do, they need to quarantine for 2 weeks when they get home. So why not do a destination X, but add on destination Y while you're here? The connectivity is great. This is what you can do in the area. It's a green zone, and then you don't have to isolate when you head back. And you, as a company, you increase your sales or a turnover perspective with a bigger booking, and you placate a client's concerns and take away a negative in the line. So yeah, very good point. Thanks. Okay. So look,
I have a question. Sorry, yeah. Martin, I'm pretty sure you want to say something. You look so ready to say something. Do you want to jump in before I ask my question?
Absolutely. A trend that we've seen, so our hotel is partnered with the International Gay and Lesbian Travel Association, and with it's mostly an American fan base that they've got, but with a questionnaire that they've done, they're actually predicting that we'll see a lot of return guests guests that have been to a country are most likely to return there if they felt safe in their previous stay pre-COVID. So they're going to go to a place where they felt safe before, but then they'll be a bit more adventurous. So obviously when people come to South Africa, Cape Town, Kruger is one of the big things that they go to. But now we're seeing some demand into like Durban area, which we didn't see normally from other countries. So I really hope that it stays with that trend. But this is what the research has shown so far.
Great. Yeah, excellent. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm done.
Yeah, key point. Yeah, and it comes down to comfort again, in terms of everyone's been thrown out of their comfort zone over the last year and a bit. So when they're looking at that next destination, what's top of mind in terms of where did they feel most comfortable, where did they feel most safe, and as a destination, we've already ticked 90% of the boxes in terms of open spaces and natural social distancing with our core product. So we've got that side done, and provided we had put the right foot forward on the initial stay, it's almost a no-brainer in terms of getting to Africa and returning to Africa. We now just need to make sure that all of our different entities, from private sector to government sector, are communicating with one another, ensuring that the ease of accessibility remains easy, because it's one thing for us all to be selling the destination, but the more difficult we make it for them to get in or to stay or to leave, that could then become a negative factor for it. So right now where we sit is easy accessibility, great connectivity, natural social distancing. We should be sitting with an easy sell for clients.
Great. Well, I think I'm going to leave my question for another discussion. It's got to do with insurance, but I see we are over our hour already. So Clinton, please feel free to wrap it up. And just from my side, thank you to everybody who's joined. And I just want to share, for those who have not joined SITE yet, our head office has very kindly agreed to a developing membership for new African members, and they've also agreed to waive the $50 registration fee. So that will be a membership fee of $200 for the first 2 years of your developing membership. So to share that with your young people and become part of this group. This group is going to become much more active, and I think just today there's been very, very insightful discussions. And if it's okay with everybody, I'm going to share this with head office and on social media. I think you've all had some very valid input, and we look forward to having this meeting again in the near future. Over to you, Clinton. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Tess. Yeah, just echoing Tess's comments. Thanks for joining us today. I know it was our first workshop. We were in a nice small group today, but we'd like to see that grow with time. The more communication we can get out there, the more word of mouth we can get out there, the better. When we started this journey a couple of months back, the immediate thing was we want this to be a place for the youth to be able to connect and to gather. and to share. And really, as I said at the beginning, I encourage you guys. We've got a great committee with Ishmael, Amka, Aileen, Farid. Follow them on social media. Follow sites on social media. Follow Site Africa on social media. Connect on LinkedIn and start a network. Start building networks. In our industry, networking, connections, it's so vital. And here's an opportunity to really get some traction going and across the continent, and then grow it into the connections you'll find into North America, Europe, Australasia, Asia, South America. We're all connected to various other organizations, individuals, people, and then start sharing. And let's use this and gain momentum to create a force to be reckoned with in the youth industry, and cross-pollinate with the heads and the guys that are in there at the moment, and let's share knowledge so we can all grow off of one another. So yeah, thanks for the time, thanks for sharing, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. And
sorry, we actually meant to say congratulations and welcome to Martin. He just joined site yesterday, so yay. Welcome on board.
Martin. Great news.
See lots more of you. Thanks, everybody.
Right, thanks guys. We'll chat again soon. Keep well.
Yes, thank you very much.